Hi everyone and welcome back to my channel. My name is Ray. In this video, I'm going to recommend 5 different books that I think are a must-have in your home library if you're working on your personal development. The type of books that I like usually are things that are both scientific and spiritual. So some of these you probably know, but these are the 5 after the 3 books that I recommended that were a little bit more hardcore, a little bit more extreme, that you can find in my other video. So, stay tuned. So the first book is Are the Placebo by Dr. Joe Dispenza. It's only a few years old, so it's kind of fresh. Joe Dispenza is doing a lot of research. You probably already know Dr. Joe Dispenza. First, from all of his events. Second, because he became famous from the movie The Secret. Now, in You Are the Placebo, he talks a lot about the different scientific aspects of how people actually transformed their body, how they heal themselves in many, many different ways. But it's more about the power of the conscious mind over the different organs of the body and over the whole system itself. It's kind of thick. There's a lot of science here. But the nice thing about it is that as you're reading it, you're actually brainwashing yourself, because you're reading another example of a person that did it and another example of a person that did it, and eventually this becomes kind of normal to you. Book number 2. This one is in Hebrew, but of course it's a translation. It's called The Biology of Belief by Dr. Bruce H. Lipton. Now, Joe Dispenza goes hand in hand with Dr. Lipton. And the reason for this is that in this book, they talk more about the change of the thought and the belief system and how it affects the body. So they both go hand in hand. I find that Dr. Bruce Lipton is a little bit more spiritual side than Dr. Joe Dispenza, but they're both, for me, approximately in the same level. I think they're 2 aspects of the same subject that needs to be researched and objectively viewed in a different perspective. The third book that I highly recommend is the series of Seth Speaks. This one is called The Nature of Personal Reality, and this one is called The Eternal Soul, or something like that, because it's in translation again from Hebrew. Now, you can get the first book online on YouTube as an audiobook, and I'm going to make a separated video for audiobooks. I love this stuff, and the reason for that is that you get so much information, way beyond what our scientists know today, about how the soul comes to incarnate, and what type of experiences are chosen, and why certain people have, you can say, certain gifts that they are born with, and what happens right after you die. Every page in this book can be read 10 times, and every time you're going to learn something new. In my flight, because I travel quite often, I just put the audiobook and I go to sleep with it, and I get in the subconscious level, I always get new information. And the audiobook is so long, it's 10 hours long, 13 hours long. Just look for Seth Speaks on YouTube. You can download it as MP3 and just put it on your phone. Number 4, Conversations with God. Now, this is only the first book, and there are 3 or 4 others. First book is usually the most important, but there's another edition that came out in 2016 that gives us a little bit more information. As you probably understand, we are experiencing expansion. And when we're experiencing expansion, there's more information that is coming in through different people. I call it through different people, although it's actually entities or God himself, I don't really know. I do know that when I started reading this book, I felt compelled to share it with others. It really connects. And it became a bestseller. So, if you don't have this in your library, this is a must. Begin with the first book. I think you can find one of the books online as an audiobook, free of charge, of course, but this is one of those that you really want to keep. And the last books, or a book series that I can recommend, is Reality Transurfing. This one hasn't been translated into my language, but it has been translated in many, many different ways. This is for the ultimate manifester. Read this not only once, read this twice. This amazing, I don't know if this guy's a scientist or not, he's called Vadim Zeland. He has an amazing way of describing our world in an object-oriented view, how certain people have more, you can say, manifestation power, what our thoughts create and how our emotions impact on that, how groups of people can affect the weather, and so many other things. So it's called Reality Transurfing. It has its own type of definition, so I would suggest you read it one time, You try to see if it's applicative to anything that is in your life, implement the different things that you learn from it, and then read it again after a year or 2 years. I find again that the first book is the best from the whole series, and of course I read the whole series, but usually the first book is the one that was more channeled by the author itself, the one that has the most potent of information. So again, Reality Transurfing, Conversations with God, the different Seth books, The Biology of Belief, and You Are the Placebo. I'm going to write them down here in the description. I highly recommend all of them. If you don't have time to read a book, make time to read a book. It's very, very important for your personal or spiritual development. Namaste, my friends. Thank you very much for staying all the way to the end. I love you, and I will see you in my next video.